Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. This. Welcome back, everybody. Here's an interesting thought. Is that fad diet helping you or hurting you? We have interviewed different types of experts, and we know that we talked to an expert on exercise and forming habits, that we have to form the right habits over time, and those fad exercises don't do much at all to help us become healthier. Is the same thing true out of the fad diets? Do they truly help us along our weight loss, not just weight loss goals? Do they help us become healthier, or do they eventually put roadblocks to us finding the health that we are looking for? So, we're going to talk to our resident functional nutritionist, Geeta, Sehti, about that sort of thing. You can find Geeta at livingwellwithgeeta.com, and she is a great functional nutritionist. She's helped many people achieve true health through her systems. So let's welcome her back to the show to find out about what about the fad diet. Hey Geeta, how's it going?
Hi, Michael. Very well. Beautiful day. It's cloudy outside, but it's not raining.
Well, but with that being said, it's been so dry that I think we actually need the rain, right? So,
I agree with you. I really, this time of the year I walk in the morning in the forests, and generally the streams on the sides are always flowing at this time, and they're dry, and it breaks my heart to see that it's so dry that we're still talking about forest fires. This is not normal. We need the rain, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
That it's cloudy and hopefully it'll rain.
Yeah. So anyway, I brought you connected with you to ask you, one of my friends on Twitter posted something about she's doing this keto diet thing, and she said something about that she's losing her hair. And the question came that only you could answer for us is, are these fad diets, because let's face it, the keto diet is another one of those fad diets, like any of the other, here, eat all the oranges you want, and or the cabbage soup thing, or whatever these things are that people come up with, instead of working with a nutritionist to find out what's going on, what are my health issues, and how do I figure them out with diet, or eating habits, should I say, not diet, because we want to move away from just that singular word, and eating habits. How do I fix it? So are these fad diets hurting us, or are they going to make us more, as a society, even more unhealthy because of like all the yo-yo effects?
Yeah, Michael, it's a very interesting question. And the thing is, I don't have a clear answer for you for this. And we have to go backwards in order to understand what has happened upstream for people to have reached this stage of yo-yo dieting and picking up keto diets, and like your friend is experiencing hair loss, and somebody else doing an Atkins diet starts experiencing something else, and there's in order to balance something, you take up an extreme diet, or you start restricting foods from your body, and it leads to some other balances, and you start wondering, am I doing the right thing? And I'm currently working with some clients who have done it for the last couple of years and have reached a point where they do not know what works for their body and what doesn't, and they're so confused, and they're not at fault. These people are not at fault. The reason is because if you look on the internet, and if you look on Google, and if you look everywhere around, food has become like a religion now. And there are extreme identities. I'm a vegan. I am following keto. I'm this, I'm that. And the whole relationship to our food as a source of nourishment is gone. We have divided food as macronutrients and micronutrients. And it's based on where we are today, what science knows about, which is very limited about the body. We still don't know everything about the body. It's an evolving science, and based on what the body's requirements are and how we break down foods, and where all we know food is needed for various functions in the body, we have decided, okay, we need proteins for regeneration. We need fats for certain functions. Fats can be used as a source of energy. I'm not saying it's all wrong. I'm saying it's a limited viewpoint. And based on that, with time, we come up with these patterns of this diet is good, this diet is bad. We start dissecting why some people do well on Mediterranean diets, why some people living in the blue zones do well on certain foods. And we start dissecting, and we start taking out extractions from that and start applying it to our lives. It's a very limited, very narrow-minded approach towards food. Food, number one, is a source of nourishment. Mm-hmm. Secondly, so you have to identify that. Secondly, understand why is it that people need to go on these extreme diets of doing keto or Atkins or low carb or whatever diet they're following, or vegan or whatever. There are definitely reasons, and I'm not here to judge anybody's decision. I'm just coming here from a perspective, what I have seen over the last so many years, and my own journey of understanding what food really is and what is really going on. So what has happened is, really in the last 30 to 40 years, where it has become really extreme in the last 10 years, goes back to 30, 40 years ago when the processing industry became really powerful. And with the advent of salt, sugar, and fat, the combination of these three, where they completely messed up with the taste buds of a normal person. We do not know what a real broccoli tastes like. We've lost that, the taste of real foods on our palate. Mm-hmm. And we've got so addicted to salt, sugar, and fat as a combination of processing industry that over time, being exposed to that, we have created imbalances, nutrient deficiencies in the body, cravings of salt and sugar in the body. And we've come far away from that balance, that homeostasis in the body. So as a result, we need to balance it. And that's where these diets have come up. So in order to bring that balance based on what science has proven today, you're having issues because you've got insulin resistance. And I held a presentation on insulin resistance recently, where I told people that you need to understand how insulin spikes and why you start craving foods. And one of the solutions for balancing insulin resistance in extreme cases is following a keto diet. And I'm not saying yes to it. I'm not saying no to it. It's a very individualized situation. But when you step back and when you look at the bigger picture, we have created the problem, and now we are trying to solve the problem by creating these kind of diets. Okay. And again, this is a short-term solution.
Yeah, okay. See, I was going to ask you that. Are these things short-term or they're long-term? And what would be the long-term real solution to the problem?
So ask somebody who's on a keto diet how difficult it is during the festival season to avoid some real nice cookies, which are not made with just fat and sugar, but fat and nuts or something, and something which their mother has baked, which has been a traditional recipe, how difficult it can be to avoid that. So when you go into keto diets, they're extreme and they're not sustainable in the long run. I know like I have not arguments, but I have these discussions with a lot of people where they say, okay, there are ways to balance if you're on a carnivore diet or you're on a keto diet, or there are ways to balance it by popping some supplements and trying to make sure that the fiber in the microbiome is balanced and taking some probiotics and things like that. Because that's with keto diet, the first thing that comes is your exposure to fiber gets very, very limited because the kind of plants and carbs that you can eat, because carbs are our source of fiber. Plants and vegetables and resistant starches come from fiber. With a keto diet, that becomes very, very restricted because your source of fuel becomes fat. So in those instances, is it good in the long run for the body, and is it sustainable? There's always a question mark, and it all depends on your unique bioindividuality. But in my opinion, I don't think you need to go down that route. I don't think you need to look for a short-term solution. There is a place for these things, but if you're really looking to heal your body and come back to a balance, you need to really understand what is your relationship with food. Why are you doing this? What are you trying to achieve? And the way to, as I said, it started with you losing the taste of real food, the taste of getting addicted to sugar and salt and fat. How do you repair that? You repair that with your relationship to whole foods.
Yeah. Well, I see. I got this song stuck in my head from Mary Poppins with Julie Andrews with the spoons full of sugar makes the medicine go down. It's
Yes.
when you think about it, though, the medicine, if the medicine tasted that nasty, you wouldn't have it wouldn't go past your nose to find your mouth.
Yeah.
And that was that's nature's basic rules of survival.
Mm-hmm.
It smells nasty. Do not put it in your mouth. But, when you say we distorted our taste buds, that's what you're reminding me of. That the basic rules of survival is smells bad, don't put it in your mouth. Tastes bad, don't swallow, spit out. So that was one of the purposes of our taste buds, right?
Exactly. And so interestingly, when you brought that up, that sugar helps the medicine go down, think about it. When nature made carbs, which basically break down into sugars, when the carbs are broken down, you taste the sugar. Uh-huh. But nature made sure that any source of sugar came with the antidote. It came with the fiber. It came with the fat. It came with the anti-nutrient in it, which was the antidote for that sugar. So your body knew that even if you were giving it sugar, it would balance it. What we have done is we've processed it, refined it, taken the sugar out, and we've got our taste buds used to that refined form of sugar. The antidote is gone.
Okay, now you're reminding me of white sugar. That bag of white sugar that we buy that isn't. Somebody said, "Oh, isn't that sugar cane?" No, it's not sugar cane. It's actually sugar beet, and they've stripped it, reduced it, processed it to it's this white powder stuff, and that white powder stuff. Well, on an addictive level, it's almost as addictive as the other white powder that's supposed to be illegal to sell.
Believe me, the chemical reaction, the dopamine high, the kick which you get with that white sugar, whether it's the powdered stuff or whether you're talking about the beet sugar, is the same. It is creating that same high in the brain, and that's why it is addictive. That's why the minute you get your taste buds and your brain and your microbes, your gut microbes, addictive to that sugar, they will generate neurochemicals. They will create neurotransmitters. They will generate in your gut and send it to your brain for you to crave sugar. Mm-hmm. So the whole chemistry of the body changes for you to crave sugar because you've got your taste buds used to that. And the processing industry today is doing that. Look at the fast food. They have spent millions and millions of dollars to make sure that you get addicted so that they survive and thrive.
Yeah. Can our taste buds be retrained?
Of course. Yeah. You can heal everything. You can get your taste buds it takes a little bit of discipline and practice. And that's the reason why I said that sometimes these diets do have a role to play, as far as you do not make it the only way. And you do dieting. I mean, you can follow keto diets or whatever you're doing. And as I said, it's very individual. Sometimes you need these kind of interventions short term to kind of allow your body to reset itself. They have a place, but in the long run, instead of that, go back to understanding or enjoying the real taste of food, having a relationship with the whole foods, and limiting and minimizing the use of processed foods. You know, I had a conversation with a client the other day, and it was about this only. And she said, you know, it's unfortunate that you're trying to tell me to eat good food, good quality food, and avoid the processed foods, but they are cheaper. And she doesn't have an issue with time because she's a single woman and she's able to cook. But her issue was that it's expensive. And I told her something which she also agreed to. In today's times, the way we are, I can understand buying organic and can be very expensive. But if you really simplify, you can eat on a budget, your body. And if you do the lifestyle also supports that, you get rid of consumerism. You get rid of having 10 different tastes and flavors that the food industry is telling you to try and go in different directions. You simplify foods. You stick to your 5 or 6 vegetables which are in season. You get your beans and lentils. Hopefully your digestion is working, that you can digest them, or whatever you can take. And you simplify it and you stick to only whole foods. And you will be okay. Over time, you make sure you're sleeping fine. You make sure the level of toxins you're exposing yourself to is okay. You make sure you're having movement in your body, your mental and emotional state. You're working on inner growth. You're getting rid of any of the beliefs which are preventing you from evolving and growing. Your mental state, your happiness, your positive state. You cannot isolate the body from the mind and the spirit. So it's a combination. You work on all that. There is no way that the body will not work with you in getting and giving you that health and well-being and supporting you in that direction.
Yeah. I had another question of mine because I follow you on Instagram, I follow you on Facebook, and I see all these really cool videos of you cooking.
Yeah.
Do you, outside of the videos, do you actually help some of your clients like find recipes with whole foods that they can actually make meals, just simple stuff at home?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of recipes which a lot of times I share with my own clients. The reason why I took this up as a career is because from childhood I've been very much interested in food. I started cooking at a very young age. At the age of 13, I could make a full meal, and
Wow.
I would want to spend time in the kitchen. I've learned from my mom, from my extended family. So I've always been very fond of food and very hands-on in the kitchen. So I see when a client comes on board, I see what is the level of expertise in terms of cooking. There are some who are already cooking a lot and they just need a little bit of guidance, and some need hand-holding from basics. So based on where they are, I'm able to share recipes. And there are times when all I tell them is just saute the vegetables with some salt and pepper and some spices. Just grill a meat and have just some sauteed vegetables on the side. It doesn't need to be that complicated. And it will, once you revive your taste buds to enjoy real foods, you will enjoy just salt, pepper, some lemon juice, and because you get the real taste of those foods.
Yeah. I know in my own kitchen that the only thing I throw on top of everything while it's cooking is I have a mixture of salt and pepper together. So it's pinch, throw, and
yeah, I mean that's the basic flavoring that if you really want to taste the fruits, the vegetables, and the flavor of foods. Yeah. And then we have a huge array of spices. I mean, I come from a culture where spices have been used because that was local to us. So then you'll go on to the next level of flavor and flavor enhancement. And then spices are basically micronutrients. They have trace elements in them.
Yeah.
They enhance the flavor of food, and they help in balancing a lot of other micronutrient needs in the body.
Yeah.
They are the ones which provide the astringent, the balancing, the bitter, the antidote to sugar. They are the ones which provide that catabolic effect in the body. What is not needed, what is, if you're having too much sugar, how to bring the inflammation down, what are the trace elements. They're basically chemicals present in nature which the body can utilize to balance itself.
Yeah. Speaking of, because you're of course from the South Asian cultures, and I love South Asian food. It's always so full of flavor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it that we're looking for flavor in the wrong places sometimes?
Yes. Again, it goes back to the same thing, Michael. We are looking for flavor in processed foods where they have created synthetic flavors, trying to imitate or trying to match what is highly addictive. Whereas, have you ever seen anybody tell you, I'm craving broccoli? It's very rare. But anybody telling you, I'm craving the flavor of, let's say, parsley or cilantro, people don't say that because they have lost that connection. And what they say is, oh, I'm craving French fries, or I'm craving a cake, or I'm craving that Tim Hortons, whatever. I don't even know what Tim Hortons is now.
Yeah. You don't hear people say. I do. My best friend's boyfriend. He loves cilantro. He's like, he's like, oh, it doesn't have enough. I want more cilantro on it. It's like when we made quesadillas, and I think he just took like stems and everything and just packed his quesadilla full of cilantro.
See, that's where the connection is.
Yeah.
To real food.
Yeah.
You want to hear more people say, I crave the spices, I crave the foods, the flavors of real foods, because that's the connection. Sometimes it's also a limbic connection because you have a memory.
Mm-hmm.
A nice hearty soup which your mother used to make. Like I made a butternut squash soup. It's not traditional for us, but when I came to Canada and I was exposed to squashes, the ones that were available here, my favorite is butternut, and I just love the flavor. And somehow over time I've developed a taste. I've combined it with the spices from my culture, and it has emotional memory which it has been created. So I find it very comforting.
Did you put curry spice on your butternut squash?
So you brought that. If I put curry spice, traditionally we never had a curry powder in our kitchens.
Yeah.
Curry powder has been made for the West or for shortcuts where they just add all the spices, grind them together, and they've called it. And they're traditional spices. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in using curry spice mix, but curry comes from so many different regions, and it's a different combination with the local flavor and local touch which is added to the curry. So you'll never find a curry powder from one store or one company matching exactly the same curry powder. You will look for certain brands which you get used to. In an Indian kitchen, like in my kitchen, my mother never had a ready-made curry powder. She used to, based on what she was cooking, she would put some coriander, she would put some cumin, she would put some cayenne or chili powder, she would maybe use some nutmeg, some cloves, some cinnamon, some whole spices. So it was based on what she was cooking. And that intelligence of how to combine spices with certain foods, it comes from Ayurveda, which has passed down generations.
Yeah.
So we inherently understood that certain spices are warming and they're combined with certain foods which may create gas or bloating. And so certain spices were combined in a certain way with foods.
Yeah. Yeah. Butternut squash is one of my favorites.
Yeah. I just love butternut. I mean, that's one soup I can drink every day in the winter and the fall season.
I'm going to warmly invite you to find pumpkin now.
So pumpkin is something which I grew up eating.
Yeah, you can spice it so many different ways to make it into it. It isn't just pie.
Oh, yes.
It
See,
isn't just
traditionally we used pumpkin in savory dishes, Michael, in India.
yeah.
We used to, like, I had never known of pumpkin as a dessert. It was only here that I was introduced to pumpkin pie and used pumpkin as a dessert, which is wonderful
Yeah.
way of getting your vegetables in.
Yeah. Um, I see now you got me talking about cooking because I love cooking, um, and I love feeding people and I love feeding them flavors, and um, yeah, pumpkin puree, chicken stock, um, and of course you have to have your basic carrot, celery, onions, blah blah blah, with some garlic um, and cumin as a chili spice from like the Aztec chili spice,
Mhm.
and you blend it all together into a soup, and very wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
And you can also do the same thing with the butternut squash, and you get a slightly different flavor.
Exactly.
But that's why I said I warmly invite you to the world of pumpkin, because it's like whatever you can do to one squash, you can usually do to the next one, and it comes out wonderful. So I
Yeah.
love cooking with squashes. So
Yeah. Yeah, and they're in season, and I'm enjoying this conversation of how we are talking about completely using whole foods and reconnecting to that flavor, that taste of
so
different squashes and different foods,
yeah.
which will basically, when we talk, like when we're sharing this, we're talking about nourishing at a deeper level.
Yeah.
So when you start treating food like that, how do you think your body is not going to understand what you're trying to do and not work towards healing whatever
Yeah.
imbalances it has created?
Well, that was part of the point. Was I was taught food is supposed to be like a medicine,
Mm.
and it is supposed to be used to when we eat. We're supposed to have exercise first, and you're replenishing what you burnt away as exercise, and healing your body from whatever, because you always do some kind of micro damage to your body when you exercise, and the foods that you
Mm.
eat are there to heal and replenish.
Exactly. It is basically your source of fuel for you to keep working, see, a body is made to work for movement. That's how it is supposed to function. We've evolved now with industrialization and with modernization and everything. Earlier, we used to go hunting, we used to cut our wood and do everything which required movement. And that time there was no processed foods, and we were eating a lot more natural foods or hunt and everything like the paleo man. And then slowly we evolved. And now, when we talk about movement, because our lifestyles have become so sedentary, because we're basically doing desk jobs and driving,
Mm-hmm.
as a result of which movement comes from exercise. And so you need a balance. Your body still needs to function. And the calorie intake has not come down. We're still eating that much, and we're creating an excess. And the foods that we're consuming, we've come so far away from, as I said again, the real foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's multifactorial. It's not linear. It's multidimensional. What we have done where we are today. So it requires work on all fronts.
Yeah. And when you say all fronts, of course, you mean our mind, our spirit, as well as our physical being.
Exactly. All
Yeah.
three levels, because they're interdependent and interconnected.
Yeah. We're a whole person, not well. There's some theories out there that we're just a series of symptoms, and maybe that's how the commercialization works too.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because they like when you look at symptoms, and when you look at the approach of the medical industry today, they're just trying to treat your symptoms. When you go to the hospital and if you have some kind of an imbalance, you go to a GP. If you need to go to a specialist, the GP is going to send you, let's say you've got some hormonal issues going on, and the GP is going to send you to an endocrinologist, and the endocrinologist sends you for some scans, and it comes out, oh, you've got some things, maybe some reaction going on in your brain, and he's going to send you to a neurologist, and after that, the chapter is closed. He sent you there. The GP didn't even find out what was your level of food, what is your level of exercise, what is your stress level, nothing. They're just looking at the symptom, and based on that, they're sending you from one place to another to diagnose what is going on in the body. But nobody has checked what is really happening with you. Why is it that you have manifested this illness?
Manifested that illness. So it's not just one single thing that created. When you say manifest, I think bigger.
I know, I use that word, and I should be careful when we are having this conversation because we can go in different directions.
Yeah. No, I want to keep this simple, and for everybody listening, if you want to find out more, go to livingwellwithgeeta.com, and you can find and work with Geeta, and you'll find out more about what it is that she's talking about, and you can get deeper into it that fits your life, not because diet isn't in eating habits aren't a one size fits all situation, are they?
Yeah, they're not. You got it right, Michael. It's not just one size fits all. It's very individualistic, and that's why when I practice as a functional nutritionist, it's all about me connecting with the person to understand where is the imbalance, what is it that's going out of sync in nature, and what is your unique bio-individuality? What is it that your body is trying to tell me? What is it that this person, who is that person, and what are they trying to tell me? What is going on? So that connection is so important for me to hold their hand and lead them into their journey of healing. I'm not the one who's going to heal. They're the ones who are going to heal themselves. But I do hold their hand till a certain point where they can understand what's going on, and then they can run with it.
Yeah. All right. So that's in a nutshell, that we, instead of reaching for the fad diet, we should be looking for someone like you, a functional nutritionist, that can help us figure out what's going on in our life and our body so that we can eat the right foods to fix it.
Yes, you're right, Michael. It's not about just picking up one diet. It's about working with a professional who understands what is really going on. And as I said, there is a place for short-term approaches where we can try and bring the body back in balance. But eventually, as a bigger picture, what we want is for you to get in touch with the body, because it understands what real foods are. It understands how to use food as medicine. And for us to be able to connect to that inner wisdom which exists within each and every person, using real foods, using the lifestyle which can support, and taking it from there. So obviously, if you're confused, you do not know what's really going on, you need to work with a professional who's got the training and who's taken the interest of understanding and learning, and let them hold your hand till you can take over your own healing journey.
All right. Please, everyone, connect with Geeta at livingwellwithgeeta.com.
Thank you, Michael. This was wonderful.
All right. Thanks for coming on. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.